Hello, Kash, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, good. Well, welcome everyone to the first ever Crypto with Kash cast or podcast. I'm not sure what we're calling it yet. My name is Duncan Morland. I'm a writer with Market Prospectors who publishes Kashaya Abbasi's Crypto with Kash crypto service, which is a fortnightly newsletter and community based around crypto. And Kash, who's the other person on this podcast you can see, is that man who does that. The idea of this is just to every week talk about a few different things going on in the crypto news, answer some questions that we've got from the community, and just have a chat about crypto, 10, 15 minutes. So, well, first of all, Kash, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you. I'm doing quite well. I went to the gym, so my body's a bit aching.
Putting me to
And But yeah, no, I'm trying to keep in shape after lockdown. I want to keep on top
yeah.
of things. So yeah, all good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. I haven't been to the gym. I've eaten a bowl of porridge. That's it. Um, Talking about the gym, Bitcoin's been going to the gym.
Yeah, I know it's been doing very well. It's been doing very well. So as we discussed in the Telegram group, October 1st marked the first day of Q4, and Q4 is historically a very good period of time for Bitcoin and cryptos in general. So I feel like, as we can see, Bitcoin's currently at 61, 62,
Mm,
just 3K away from all-time highs, and I feel like Bitcoin's going to steal the limelight a bit for the next
yeah,
couple of weeks. And then, as we've seen before, how it works is altcoins they don't do as well, so they might go up in USD because Bitcoin is going up, but in terms of BTC price, they might go down because Bitcoin is just outperforming most of these coins.
yeah.
Um,
When you say altcoins, we should clarify for people, you
Altcoin.
just
Oh yeah,
mean
altcoins. So alternative currencies. Altcoins being alternative cryptocurrencies.
anything that's not
Anything apart from
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Is it that Bitcoin tends to lead a rally and then the altcoins kind of,
yeah. So there's a lot of positive news coming out with Bitcoin, with the first ETF being approved in the US, and also loads of like the CEO of Twitter saying they want to invest heavily into this ecosystem.
yeah,
And of course, as we saw months prior with Elon Musk investing, I think it was $1.5 billion into Bitcoin as well. So he's practically doubled his money now, by the way,
oh, really?
which is quite cool. And yeah, generally speaking, historically, Q4 is very good for cryptos and Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to take the limelight; it's going to go up, and then once it stabilizes, money's going to rotate back into alts. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting time, I think.
Yeah. So that's what you kind of see happening for Bitcoin over
Yeah.
do you think it's going to, it looks like it, to me, it's going to go over its previous all-time high, but I guess,
Yeah, I do see that happening as well, definitely.
and
I
then
mean, long term, if it doesn't happen within the next 3 months, it's going to happen long term. I mean, long term, I see it hitting six figures. Even Kathy Woods sees Bitcoin hitting like $500,000, which is incredible to think about. But see, it just goes to show how long term they're thinking.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Which is very different from when you read like the forums and stuff. It's sort of very immediate. And
yeah, yeah,
people,
yeah,
another thing I wanted to ask you was people, now is when Bitcoin gets back in the news and stuff, and this is when people buy
yeah,
at the all-time high. Is
yeah.
that a good thing to do?
It just depends really because the risk reward is higher at that stage because it's a higher risk that you're taking. I mean, if you were part of the Telegram group back when Bitcoin crashed at 30K, that's when we were saying, okay, it needs
Mm,
to hold a 30K support, and we were actually dollar cost averaging into some of the other positions. So that was a good opportunity for us to lower down our buy levels, our
yeah.
average buying levels, and now of course everything's a lot higher than it was back then. So
Yeah, I think it's just people's. It just seems people sort of gravitate towards selling when there's a crash because
yeah,
people lose money and then are worried about losing more. And then when the cryptos are going back up again, like it's in the news, everyone's talking about it. So you have that sort of, oh, I've got to buy now.
FOMO, yeah, it's FOMO. That's when FOMO kicks in. But
Yeah,
if you don't have a strategy, that's what happens.
Yeah.
And like I always tell this to people, like crypto is not a get rich quick scheme, but you can get rich quick. There's a difference.
Yeah.
So people think, oh, they're going to invest in this coin and become super rich. And if they don't, then they sell. And then that's when the market moves up. And they're like, oh, let me buy in again. Now it's moving. But by the time they realize it's gone up, it's time for it to have a retracement again.
Yeah.
So they end up losing money. That's why you just buy, hold for the long term. That's what we do here.
That leads into one of the questions we had actually, which was for somebody starting out right now, like a sort
Yeah.
of starter portfolio, like what would your advice be? Sort of, yeah, like I guess we sort of talk about that and manage that in the Crypto with Kash service, but what would your broad advice be? You know, sort of like, should they buy some bigger cryptos, some smaller ones? Like, should they get in now? Should they, you know, like that kind of thing?
Yeah. So as we've done in our portfolio, I think you need to set a solid foundation for your portfolio. So around 30 to 40% you put into one of the big coins, so Bitcoin or Ethereum. In our case, we chose Ethereum because I personally believe it has a lot more room to grow,
Mm.
especially considering that much of the ecosystem and much of the top 10, top 20, even top 100 coins are all built on top of Ethereum.
Yeah.
And on any given day, Ethereum is generating a lot more revenue than Bitcoin is, and by a magnitude of like maybe 10, sometimes even 30. So Ethereum as a protocol generates a lot more money than Bitcoin does.
You should just say to the people that aren't familiar with Ethereum, it's because people are basically building other financial products on top of Ethereum.
Exactly. It's like a platform. It's like
Yeah.
a platform that people are building whole different applications on top of. It's in a way kind of like iOS or Windows in a way, if you want to Windows as an operating system where
Yeah. Yeah.
people can build applications on top of that. And it's fascinating what people are doing now and what is possible, and that's all because of Ethereum. So yeah, for a newcomer, maybe set 30 to 40% of your total portfolio into Ethereum, and then you can start doing your research into the lower down cryptos in terms of market cap. So if you go on Coin Market Cap or CoinGecko, you
Mm.
can see that all the lists of the cryptos out there. Then you can start adding more positions based on the rankings over there. But definitely, I would always recommend having a solid foundation with Bitcoin and Ethereum, 30 to 40% of your portfolio there.
Yeah. And then we generally put like sort of 5 to 10% in the smaller cryptos.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
have a strategy and stuff for doing that, but I don't know if maybe we can get into that properly in another week.
yeah.
Okay, so one of the other big questions we had from some of the community members this week was how the hell do you get money into Binance? Because if anyone's been following the news, a lot of UK banks have stopped bank transfers and payments into Binance.
Yeah.
But a lot of people still want to buy coins on Binance. Why is Binance still popular for you? And
Well, Binance is the number one cryptocurrency exchange in terms of volume. It generates more and it attracts more volume than any other exchange out there. But unfortunately, some UK banks have suspended transactions with Binance, but there's always an easy workaround that. So one way you could do it is open an account within a different exchange like Coinbase, for
yeah,
example. Verify your details, deposit GBP, pounds, change it into USDT, which is USD Tether, withdraw that and deposit it onto Binance. You can do that. But of course, you'd have to pay transaction fees for that. A cheaper alternative would be to open an account with FTX, which is a new and upcoming, an exchange. And so there's different networks on there. So Coinbase, as it currently stands, only operates on the Ethereum network. So if you want to withdraw, it only does it through Ethereum, which at times could be very costly, depending on how congested the blockchain is. If you go on FTX, you can do the same thing, deposit pounds, turn it into USDT, convert it on there. There's a one button you press, and then you can withdraw it using the Tron blockchain. the Tron blockchain, the transaction fees on there are maybe a penny, maybe even less than a penny. So that is a better alternative. So a simple walkthrough would be deposit money on FTX, convert it to USDT, then click withdrawal, and then it asks you to select the network. So you will select the Tron network. You go on Binance, you search up USDT, and then you look for deposit, and then you basically copy the Tron blockchain address and you paste that onto FTX. And then once the transfer is done, it will just appear in your account.
Yeah, so it's slightly more, essentially it's sort of depositing money in a different exchange, converting that into a stable coin, and then moving it across to Binance. So it's slightly convoluted, but you might want to do that because on some of the other exchange, like Binance has a pretty broad range of coins. It's also got good staking, I think, like if you want to have interest in your crypto.
One thing, before I forget, one thing I would definitely mention is before you make any transaction, send a test transaction first. So maybe send 50 cents or $1 just to make sure the address that you've pasted or the process that you followed is the correct one. Because as we know, there's no refunds in the blockchain. If you make a mistake, then your coins are burnt forever, and you can't. There's no one you can go up to get a refund. It's gone forever.
Yeah, the exchange, the customer support on the exchanges has not got a great reputation, apart from Kraken, apparently. But another thing that one of the members in the community brought up, I think it's called John, was the peer-to-peer market on Binance. The way you can, I mean, are you familiar with that, where you can buy?
I've never personally used the P2P network on Binance, but I have checked it out, and it's the same for different platforms out there. So someone lists a bunch of coins that they have, and they wait for a buyer. Binance essentially holds that in escrow, and then once the confirmation is done, then that payment gets swapped over. So instead of going on an exchange, you're doing it directly with another person.
Yeah, and you can it looks like you can use your card or bank account to make that payment directly to the other person. There's a website called Local Bitcoins, I think.
Bitcoins, yeah, same sort of thing.
Yeah, or Local Crypto, it might be called now.
Local Bitcoins, yeah.
Right, okay, yeah. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting, the peer-to-peer stuff, and some of the members have done it, and it seems to have worked fairly well.
And it's true to the nature of blockchain technology, as it is decentralized,
but I don't know if the only thing is maybe the price you're paying for some of the coins is maybe higher than you would on the exchange, but then maybe you don't have to go through the faff of moving money from, say...
Yeah, there's always that because, of course, with exchanges, there's a lot more liquidity. There's millions of dollars worth of trades being made every second. Whereas with P2P, you would have to find another person with the right amount to make the exchange with you.
Yeah, sure. Then one of the other questions we had was about staking. Which is basically earning interest on your crypto. Maybe you can give a better explanation, but could you just give like a bird's eye view of what staking is and the options people have, I guess, from like easiest to hardest in terms of like...
So in many ways, staking is like earning interest, but what you have to do is you essentially lock away your coins for a predetermined number of days. It could be 15 days, it could be 30 days, it could be 60, 90, whatever. But in doing so, you would then start earning a proportion of the revenue generated by that protocol. So for example, Sushi, it's a decentralized exchange, and they take a certain percentage of every trade made on there. And then by staking your Sushi coins, you earn a proportion of that revenue generated. It's a nice way to earn a little extra on top of what you have already. And as you can see, it would incentivize people to hold on to their coins for the long term because they realize, okay, if I stake it, then if the value goes up, then my portfolio value goes up, but I'm also earning some more at the same time. So it's very good for those who are investing for the long term. Luckily, Binance offers staking options for most of the coins out there. You would have to select a number of days that you'd like to stake before it gives you the percentage that you will earn as well. Interesting enough, you could also stake USDT. So if you have USDT, you could convert your money from normal fiat currency into USDT and then earn interest on top of your money. So that
Yeah.
way, even if it is locked away, it's not going to fluctuate. It's a stable coin essentially. So, and they
Yeah.
would most times they give you a lot more a lot higher interest rates than your bank does, for example. So a lot of
Yeah.
people are flocking to crypto for that reason.
I'd say the only one of the risks with that kind of stuff is if you're locking in your money with an exchange or a different platform, you have to kind of trust that that platform is going to be around for the next 90 days or 6 months or a
Exactly,
year.
exactly. Of course, with generally speaking, with finance, the risks I would say are very low. But of course, that is always a consideration if you are dealing with substantial amounts of money. Um, and another thing to consider is if you have locked away if you have staked, for example, a certain coin and the value of it goes up significantly, and say you want to sell, you wouldn't be able to because you've staked it away for that period of time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
Um,
remember with one of your picks for the newsletter,
yeah,
some of the people that weren't able to sell because they had money locked in, it actually turned out better because
yeah,
the price kept on going up, and
exactly.
by the time they got access to their funds again, so maybe in some ways
It can go both
helps
ways,
you, yeah, it
definitely.
helps you stay long term focused, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
But, yeah.
And perhaps it's also something to consider that coins that do offer staking, then that way you can think about how maybe there's going to be less selling pressure from
Mm,
people who've invested. So if you think about it, you'd be thinking how maybe a lot of people have staked their coins and they're not willing to sell, so that means there's a lot more upward pressure on the coin.
yeah.
So that is also something to consider.
A good measure maybe of staking is it's not just staking, but the total value locked.
Yeah, into
Um,
the smart contracts. So the more like prominent or the more widely used a network would be or blockchain would be, the higher the TVL generally would be. TVL is basically a measure of all the amount of money essentially entrusted into that blockchain. So the higher it is, the more faith people have in that blockchain.
yeah, and there's a website that I look at called DeFi Pulse that
Yeah,
sums up like the TVL for things. There's quite a few out there, but
there's quite a few out there, but yeah, that is one measure to determine like, or to gauge how popular crypto is.
yeah. And so the last thing that we're going to talk about quickly is MetaMask, and
Yeah,
so one of our members asked, how to set up a MetaMask wallet, and we can't do a step by step on here. Maybe we can do that
yeah,
elsewhere. But could you just talk about MetaMask, like tell people what it is and just the general process of setting up,
yeah,
and maybe what it can do as well?
definitely. So MetaMask is essentially a browser extension. It's a digital wallet where you can use to store your Ethereum coins. So you can store Ethereum on there, of course, and also every other coin that's built on top of Ethereum. So Sushi, for example. Um, when it comes to downloading digital wallets on your computer, I'd say be very careful because when you do a Google search for MetaMask, for example, or even Binance or anything related to cryptocurrencies, the top adverts that come up are usually scams.
Yeah,
And if you look carefully, they've misspelt one word or one letter, and they're obviously phishing scams to try and steal your money. So I'd be very careful. One workaround I use is I go on Twitter and then I search MetaMask and I find the official profile
yeah,
for MetaMask, for example, and you can tell it's an official account because it has a verified check next to it.
yeah,
So, and normally they would have the website in their bio. So I'd install the MetaMask extension through those sort of means. I would try to avoid using Google searches to download these sort of applications. Essentially, what you do is if you have Google Chrome browser, you all you have to do is it's literally one button that says add to Chrome. You click it, it installs on your device, and then it would appear in the top right corner of your internet browser. The setup will usually involve you taking down the seed phrase. So it'd be like 12 or 24 words that you write down, and you have to write down the order. This is essentially your password to all your funds. So just make a good note of this. Keep it somewhere safe. Ideally, not store it on your computer. Write it on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's basically your wallet sorted. Once you open the application, there is a address. That's your address where you would use to receive funds. It's very simple. It's very simple. I mean, it's very similar to other platforms and other wallets that you may have used before.
Yeah, I'd say I found it very easy to set up. To me, it was kind of like you said, you install the plugin or go to their webpage and then just go through the steps, write down your seed
Yeah,
phrase. And the thing that I found really great about it is it kind of unlocks like the decentralized world of crypto. So having that browser plugin means that when you go on, trying to think of some examples, but lots of
OpenSea, for example, like an NFT
yeah.
market.
So like decentralized finance websites that allow you to sort of earn interest on your crypto and stuff in a decentralized way rather than with a centralized exchange. You can suddenly just plug straight into these websites by giving your MetaMask wallet permission to do so. And
Yeah,
it does take a little while to get used to, but it's really cool. I think it's called like Internet 3.0 or something. It's just
yeah, Web3. Yeah,
yeah, oh yeah. So, and it's like it's a different experience where you feel like you have more control because you're just plugging. You have control over your wallet and your identity, essentially your crypto identity, and then you're choosing to plug that into various sites, and then you can revoke that permission
yeah,
immediately. But I
exactly.
used it to like experiment with generating a bit of interest on some decentralized platforms, and yeah, if I can do it, then most people can learn to do it, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's it. Well, we're trying to keep these relatively short, so I think we're about 20 minutes in. So thank you for your time today, Kash.
Thanks for having me.
I'm sure what you're doing this afternoon, you're going back to the gym, or have you got
Yeah, I'm
something?
going to go to the gym actually
Yeah,
after this. Get out of the way.
yeah. Okay, well, we shall speak to people next week. And if anyone's got any feedback about what we're doing, any questions they want us to talk about, or news topics or anything like that, we'll leave some kind of contact details under the video so people can just do that. Okay, all right. We'll catch you later, Kash, and
Take
thank you
care.
again.
Peace.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
See if we can actually finish the call now.